If you've been wondering what the 3 things you can do right now to update your website and make it that much snazzier, stay tuned because that's what I'm going to be covering. Hi, my name is Yasmin Robles with Robles Designs, and I create drill-worthy websites and brands for entrepreneurs who are hell-bent on taking over the world. I do this not just by creating a pretty website for you, but also by actually looking at your brand, taking stock of your marketing goals, and creating something that will actually help your clients or potential leads convert. So the very first thing that you have to do on your site to get it to convert a little better, but also to just update it, is to put your face on your website. And I know this can be really awkward. Trust me, it's very awkward for me to see all of me over my site, but it works. So if you were to put my website next to another website designer who has stock images, it just looks like you're at some office or co-working space, but you don't really see anyone's face. It's kind of awkward. Like, who am I really talking to, right? It could be somebody overseas, but they say that they're in Columbus, Ohio, but are they really? How are you going to trust them? So make sure that you put your face on your website. And this is especially crucial for people like influencers, bloggers, obviously, but also coaches, business coaches, therapists, anyone. If you're going to have some kind of personal connection to the person on the other side of that screen, then you have to put your face on your website. And that doesn't mean just the about page. It means on the home page, of course, the about page, maybe even the contact page, just to reinforce that you are a real person and that they could find you if they wanted to. And they could get in contact with you, that you are the person who's going to pick up the phone and help them with whatever problem they need. So if you're a personal trainer, all of these kinds of services, you can have your face on the company. Now, if you have an e-commerce site, you do have the choice of, I would say, not putting your face on there or putting your face on your website. The reason I still say go for putting your face or your team's picture on your new e-commerce's website is because you're new. You're trying to establish legitimacy in this space, and you're competing with large companies who have a ton of money and have models and have a budget for SEO and all this great stuff. Whereas you have a smaller budget and you really just need to hone in on people who are going to trust you. They're going to see your face. They're going to trust you a lot more. They're going to become a person who purchases your product instead of just wondering if it really is a product for you. So for example, I recently reviewed, and you can check back in my previous videos, but I recently reviewed a jewelry creator. She has her e-commerce site, and on her homepage, she did the perfect thing. She put her image and her short bio on the homepage because it just helps you connect with your audience that much more. The second thing you should be doing on your website is capturing people's emails. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but you really should be capturing people's email. And this is pertaining to email marketing. Yes, you could have a million bajillion followers, if that's even a number. I sound like my 10-year-old, but you could have so many followers on Instagram, but you are making no money because you can't really market to all those people unless you pay for ads and all this craziness. But if you can capture people's emails as they're coming onto your site, whether it's a pop-up, check my previous videos for not making an annoying pop-up, but a pop-up or something like just a banner where it's right there on the page as they're scrolling, and just kind of reminders, maybe even in the footer, reminders that they can sign up for your email list. And I don't mean reminders as in you are going to send them an update or send them a newsletter. Nobody wants to just sign up for a newsletter. We want something in exchange for our email address, whether that is 20% off and free shipping for your e-commerce site. It could be something like a 5-step PDF to X, Y, and Z. Maybe it's a free workout, or maybe it is a free class, a free fitness class. It could also be something like maybe you have a 3-step video series on how to get your SEO just right. And so all of these things are valuable enough that I'm willing to give you my email and where you're likely going to email me. And it's just so much better than saying, hey, sign up for my newsletter and I might email you every so often about, I don't really know what, but I'm going to email you. So give me your email address. No. And then make sure that you are only collecting the information that you need. So for example, even if you can just collect people's email, that's fine. Just put the email in there. If you want their first name, because you will be personalizing their emails, the email sends, then you will want to ask the first name. Last name is kind of iffy. I don't typically put it up there on a form just because it's like, why do you really need the last name? And anything further than first and last name and email is just a no-no because it's going to cut your conversion. Now, if you are hosting a webinar or have a white paper and understand that you want to actually cut out those other people and you only want the people who really and truly will want to work with you and want to really get that white paper, right? The people who are really like kind of like HubSpot. If you've ever gone on their site and signed up for something, it's like a bunch of different questions and they're really weeding out the people who are not going to be interested or who are just too lazy to fill that out. And they're going to be adding in the people who do have employees, do have a certain amount of income, and they're gathering stats. So they're doing it with a purpose. But for if you are just a business coach or if you are just starting out your business, let's say you are an event planner, then you'll just want to give something of interest, give some kind of like PDF, maybe how to not stress during your wedding or whatever that may be. And then in exchange for an email and just ask for first name and email address. The third thing that you can do to jazz up your site is to create full or utilize full width images on your website. And this means that no matter what size your browser screen, the image is going to be from edge to edge of the browser. This helps because it really utilizes the space. It helps break up the certain sections of your site. And if you paid for a photographer, you'll want to use those beautiful images that you got. I would say these work better with horizontal images. A big no-no on sliders or anything that swaps images out automatically because users are not going to sit there and wait for the next slide. They're going to start scrolling. So eliminate the slider or anything that moves images around in crazy ways and just put a full width image, put a snazzy headline and call to action, and then move on to the next section and utilize all of your images. So if you did pay for a photographer and you have all these amazingly beautiful, great images to use, then try to use them throughout the site to highlight the awesomeness that you are. And then, remove the slider. So full width images are a good thing to have on your website, as well as you can also separate them out with full width color, which leads us to our bonus. Add a pop of color if appropriate for your brand on your website. And a lot of websites, a lot of my clients are very minimalist. There's a lot of black, white, and gray on their sites. And it works really interesting in an interesting way when we add a pop of color as a call to action button or as just one word in a sentence, because we want to emphasize certain things on their site. So for example, let's say you are very minimalist. It's black, white, and grays, maybe a dark gray, and you have a pop-up talking about your latest and greatest PDF that you're giving away, right? And you're asking for the first name and the email address, and it's all snazzy, amazing headline, amazing copy, maybe even a screenshot of what that giveaway thing is. It's still black, white, and gray. So in order to make that pop a little bit, you'll go into your color scheme and maybe let's say it is a bright yellow. And so we would make perhaps that background of the pop-up a bright yellow because we want it to stand out from everything else. Same thing with call to action buttons. So if you have a very minimalist site and you really want something to pop, choose a color within your color scheme, something that's really going to help emphasize that section or that call to action and utilize it in that way. And then just sprinkle it in, make it sparing, make sure that it's only for buttons or only for main call to actions, only for detail elements, whatever it might be. Make sure you're consistent with that color, the color code, and where you're utilizing it. To recap, the first thing you want to do to spice up your website a little bit is to put your face on your site. This not only helps you gain trust, but it makes you seem like a legit business because there is an owner, there's a person behind the brand. It's not just a logo and it's not just a bunch of stock images, which stock images are great, but it's not just a bunch of random people in an office looking area where you actually are in like your closet working or something, hiding from your kids. So get a headshot, get a couple of you in a nice location and put them on your site. Again, it really gives trust. If you have an e-commerce site, I know this is not going to be the main part of your site. Your product will be, but on the about page, you still want to put a headshot, talk about your passion, talk about why you started the company, and maybe a little snippet of that with a picture on your homepage. The next thing is to collect those emails. Do not neglect this in any way, even if you're just starting out and have no idea what you're going to email people about. Start collecting those emails, and you want your headline to provide something of value for me, whatever it may be. Have a snazzy headline, collect those emails, and then make the email capture simple. Name and email address. Use full width images so that you can give people some eye candy. So make sure that you have full width images, and if you have a slider, get rid of it. Just use the full width static image. Put this amazing snazzy headline and a call to action over it if necessary. Definitely if it's in the hero section, a topmost section of the page, but I would always say if it's going to go from edge to edge and it's tall enough, it probably needs a headline and a call to action. And your bonus is to use pops of color around your website. Even if your website is minimalist in its branding, you'll want to use pops of color to emphasize certain aspects, whether it's a call to action or very specific words in your headlines. It's just going to help push your message forward. That's it for this video. If you are creating your website, DIYing it, or working with another designer, make sure to check out my free website planning guide on my website. Link is down in the description. I would like some feedback on it. And if you have any questions on your website, you can feel free to comment or make sure to shoot me an email, go to my site, rebelsdesigns.com, and I'm more than happy to support. Until next time.